being a long hauler, I'm basically facing my fear head on. Because this is such a unique experience for me, we're kind of right at the beginning. I wanted to just kind of share with you guys my experience of getting a Venogram. The main reason I haven't done any videos like this is because of my long COVID symptoms. Oh, I'm getting tired. Give me a second. Right, I'm getting all knocked out. I really shouldn't be pushing to try and do this. Did I mention that I'm always thirsty? Just trying to push through this. Oh, this is so jumbled. Am I gonna be able to cut this to where it makes sense? Good God. Oh. Hi everyone, I am the creator of Eastbound Tortoise, a daily vlog to practice the art of slowing down. So I was working on this week's vlog and I wanted to go a little bit more in depth in one of my experiences this week. For those of you who have been following me, I believe you should know that I am a long hauler. I have long COVID. It is a disability, I guess at this point they've determined that. It comes with a slew of symptoms, but I'm not going to go into that in this video. Basically what I wanted to go over with you guys is that I ended up having a Venogram this week to determine whether or not my left iliac vein was in fact compressed and if I was going to need a stent for it. So the reason I really wanted to kind of go a little bit more in depth in this is because anything medical creeps me out. And of course, as being a long hauler, I'm basically facing my fear head on. So I wanted to make this video for those of you who might be getting a stent in the future and are kind of interested into the process of it, or if maybe you have some other medical procedure that's going to be happening and you also are creeped out by medical procedures. Hopefully just hearing my experience might give a little comfort to you. So this is going to be part one of a three-part series. This one is just going to cover getting my Venogram. The second one will be the actual stent procedure, and then I'll probably do a third video just to follow up and go over my recovery process. I do want to just throw a little disclaimer out there that I'm not a medical professional, even though I have been in and out of doctor's offices for the past 3 years. Being a long hauler, I have severe brain fog, and so yeah, if you are interested in the details of this medical procedure, I highly recommend that you talk to your doctor or go online and do a little bit more research on your own. This video, this series is strictly going to be my own personal experience. Kind of bear with me as I do this video. The main reason I haven't done any videos like this is because of my long COVID symptoms. As I mentioned before, I do have brain fog. I fatigue extremely easily, so it's gonna be a mystery how this goes, so bear with me. So in a previous video, I mentioned that my cardiologist had some x-rays done, or not just x-rays, I had an MRI of my abdomen to see if I did have a compressed iliac vein. And based on those images, she thought that I did have a compressed iliac vein, and she referred me to a specialist, and after having a consultation with him, he scheduled me to have a Venogram. Now, I had to pull up the information that they gave me so I can give you a better idea of what a Venogram is. So it says here, a Venogram or venography, I think that's how you pronounce that, venography, is a procedure that uses an X-ray and contrast dye to examine how well the veins work and how blood flows through them, especially in your legs. Contrast dye helps the veins to show up on X-rays. A Venogram may be done to identify clots within the veins, to find out where a blood clot started, to evaluate abnormalities in the veins such as swelling, to map out the veins that might be needed for another procedure, to look at vein problems present at birth. So I didn't have any blood clots, but they did suspect that my iliac vein was compressed, and it could be causing possibly some of my fatigue, some of my abdominal pressure, and possibly some other symptoms as well. So it was worth looking into this. Basic procedures. So getting the venogram. Oh, I'm getting tired. Give me a second. All right. So, God, I'm getting all knocked out. Oh, why doesn't my brain work? Oh, I hope I don't crash. I'm really gonna try and get through this without crashing. All right, guys, here we go. We're gonna keep going. And oh my God, I'm like, I really cannot focus. I really shouldn't be pushing to try and do this. All right, venogram. So for my venogram, couldn't eat or drink after midnight the night before. I really didn't mind not eating. That wasn't that big of a deal for me, but not drinking was a little bit troublesome because I am constantly thirsty. So I was a little nervous about not being able to drink anything. But they ended up giving me an IV with a bag of fluid when I got there. So that ended up being okay. But anyway, I had to arrive for the procedure 2 hours early so that they could prep me. So the hospital was about an hour away. So we left pretty early in the morning. We got to the hospital, checked in, paid the bill, and then pretty quickly a nurse came in, got me, and took me to the room, the prep room, where they had me change into a gown and some socks that they provided because you're not allowed to wear any of your own clothing. At that point, she went ahead and she took some blood samples. She kept the IV in me so that I could get a bag of fluid in before the procedure. And then they went ahead and hooked me up to a bunch of monitors. And I stayed there for about an hour or so while they waited on my blood work to come back because they couldn't get me in until my blood work was cleared. Did I mention that I'm always thirsty? Water bottles have become like my security blanket. I can't go anywhere without one. Where did I leave off? Okay, so yeah, we were waiting on the blood work, and then once we got the go ahead, they went ahead and they wheeled me into the room. And the nurse was really, oh wait, I think I completely forgot a step. Oh yeah, so while I was waiting there, they came in, they had me sign a release. They gave me just kind of an overall, an idea of what was going to happen during the procedure to give me kind of an idea, because I'm going to be honest, I really felt like I went in on this like I was getting onto a roller coaster and I didn't have to wait in line, so I didn't know what I was getting into. I didn't have time to kind of see the roller coaster and prepare myself. So anyway, the doctor's team, they were really, really nice, and they really helped kind of, I don't know, just keep the whole thing pretty chill. So yeah, so the nurse rolled me into the, I feel like this is like so not clear. This is so jumbled. Am I gonna be able to cut this to where it makes sense? Good God. Oh, are there any other long haulers out there that can relate to this chaos? This fatigue and this brain fog? And this inability to put one thought after another. I'm just trying to tell a simple story. This is insane. I might have to take like an actual break instead of just trying to push through this. Oh, fuck. I'm gonna take a break. Yeah, I can feel it. I can feel I'm starting to crash. I'm sorry, guys. I really wanted this to be clear and concise, and maybe I can cut it that way, but oh, my head is all over the place. All right, I'm gonna pause here and I'm gonna come back. All right, I'm back. I had a snack, watched a couple episodes around BTS. Hopefully that kind of calmed everything down so I can get through this. I don't want to rush through it, but I don't know how much energy I have left, and I'm supposed to be prepping for Lunar New Year, so we'll see how I manage all of that. I think I left off on the procedure going into the room. So yeah, so they wheeled me into the room. It was a little scary looking, but the staff, the nurses, they were really fantastic, and they made me feel at ease. They transferred me from the bed onto the table, which was really narrow, so they had to strap my legs in, but my arms were free. And at that point, they one nurse was kind of hooking all of my stuff up. And then another nurse had me rotate my neck to the side because they were going to be making a small incision at my collarbone. And then that was where the camera was going to go down. So she was prepping that. She just cleaned it, and then she put, it was like a cloth that had a hole cut out in it to, I think, isolate the area. And then they also put a few other things over top of me. One of it was like, it seemed like a plastic sheet that they kind of covered my head with, but it was kind of like, it almost felt more like an umbrella covering. I still had plenty of space where I could see everything. I just had to keep my neck to the side. So at this point, I was starting to get a little nervous. I'm one of those people that I don't realize how nervous I am until the very last second. So at this point, I was starting to get a little nervous. So they gave me some Benadryl to kind of keep me calm until the doctor came in. And at that point, once the doctor came in, I could hear them. They did a little powwow, and then they gave me the numbing shot. And they told me that that was going to be the worst part of the procedure, and thank goodness I'm really good with needles because it really wasn't that bad to me anyway. It was just a breathe in, breathe out. I got the shot, and then they went ahead and they gave me, it was a conscious sedation. So it was really weird. It was like I was asleep and dreaming, but I was also fully conscious. So it was a little kind of strange in between area. So once I was kind of in that state, they started the procedure. Basically, all I kind of recall is them chatting, and then every once in a while I would kind of hear, they would direct towards me, breathe in, hold it, breathe out. That happened a few times. I'm not entirely sure how long the procedure took, maybe 30 to 45 minutes, but my sense of time was completely gone. Just at some point, next thing I knew, they're like, okay, you're all done. And they took everything off. They slid me back onto the bed and rolled me out. And they put me back in my original room so that I could sit there and they could watch me for a couple hours while I kind of came out of it. They did offer me some water and snacks. I did take them up on the water. I had brought my own snacks. But yeah, I was really, really thirsty at that time, so I just drank a whole bunch of water. I had brought a water bottle with me with a little salt packet to help with hydration. As, like I said, water bottles have become my security blanket. I always have to have one with me. So I just kind of rested. I had some water, I had a little snack. I listened to some audiobooks. I kind of went in and out of sleep. And they ended up bringing my partner in, and then the doctor came in so he could go over the results. He had everything ready for me before I left. And what he found is that he did officially diagnose me with May-Thurner Syndrome. So basically, May-Thurner Syndrome, or MTS, if you want to know more about it, you can look it up online. But it's basically when your vein gets squished by another vein. So your iliac veins, from my understanding, are kind of near your hips. And you've got one vein that's on top of another, and then you've got the bone underneath. So for me, I'll just use what I'm going through specifically. So I've got one vein, and then I've got my other vein underneath, and this one's just kind of pressing down on it. So if you've got two veins that are supposed to be here, this vein got compressed, so it's a little bit of a pancake. And he said I'm in the 90th percentile. Let me see, what exactly did he say? He said it's a high-grade stenosis at the left common iliac vein. So yeah, it says here that a normal iliac vein is normally 146.4 square millimeters. I hope I'm reading that correctly. And mine is 28.6. So yeah, so pancake. So he said with those findings, he's like, you're gonna get a stent. I mean, obviously at the end of the day, it's up to me, but he's like, I recommend that you get a stent. And before he gave me all of the findings and was like, yes, I do think that you are a strong candidate to get a stent, he kind of gave me the whole rundown of this is not a cure-all. Everybody is affected differently. Some people feel a lot better after getting it. Some people don't notice anything at all. And specifically with long haulers, it varies. So he didn't want me to hear these findings and go, oh, that's the answer to all of my problems and this is going to fix my long COVID. It's not. And that certainly isn't how I'm approaching this. More or less the way that I'm approaching this is if this can give me even some small percentage of relief, I think that it's worth it. We've kind of gone over the pluses and minuses, the positives and the negatives of it all, and decided that this is a good route to go. Now, he did also say that he might stent my right side. While he was doing the Venogram, he looked at both my left and right side, but he said for whatever reason, in true fashion for me, I gave him a curveball and he couldn't quite see the right side. So he said that when he stents my left side, he'll then decide if he wants to stent my right side as well. So he did give me a heads up in he's like, this is going to be painful. He's like, I want you to be mentally prepared. This is going to hurt. But they're going to give me some really good drugs. So hopefully I should be okay, because I don't like being in pain. I'm pretty tough, but that doesn't mean I want to be in pain. But anyway, so we're going to go through with it. I'm waiting to schedule that. Once that ball starts rolling, I'll update you guys with a second video. In terms of my recovery from the Venogram, which I had, I think I'm on 2 or 3 days now. I think it's been 3 days since my Venogram. So afterwards, I felt awake enough. I was able to go get something to eat, but by the time I got home, I was really, really tired. I ended up sleeping most of the day. I woke up, I think I had a snack, and then I just went back to bed and I slept the whole night. The next day, I was also really tired. In terms of the actual area, There was a big bandage that they put on it, and they said I could take it off after 24 hours, which I did. And I'm gonna be honest, I was really, really nervous. I had no idea what was under there. But I took the main bandage off, and then there were 3 strips of tape, and I left those for another day because I was still too nervous to take them off. And so I ended up taking one piece at a time, and by the time I finally got to the actual incision, it was fine. Like, it wasn't as big of a deal as I was making it out to be. They ended up using surgical glue, so it's a bunch of glue, and the teeny tiny incision, you can see where it's at, but it's all pretty minor. I won't show it just because even minor stuff makes me squeamish, so I won't do that to you guys. But yeah, it's just right on my collarbone. The second day, yes, I was still really tired and I had a headache, so I took Tylenol throughout the day because I was sore, I was tired, and yeah, so Tylenol got me through the first day. The second day I was fine, still a little tired, neck was still a little sore. Today I'm still just a little tired, but I'm pretty much coming out of it. I imagine that the glue will come off in the next few days. But I did learn you're not supposed to wash it, I guess, online, because I had done just like a little bit of soap and water around it, but I guess you're not even supposed to do that. I don't know if there's any medical professionals out there, if you have tips on how to handle surgical glue after the fact, because I was reading online, some people say that you should put a bandage over it, some said that you shouldn't, but I don't know. I'm just kind of winging this. Anyway, it doesn't hurt, it just itches a little bit. I imagine it will fully heal in a few days. But that's kind of where I'm at recovery-wise. If I were gonna change anything, since like I said, I went to this not really being prepared, I would still bring my water. That was a huge help. I would bring more snacks. I brought just a little packet of mixed fruit and nuts and chocolate, and I probably would have brought one more of those little packets. And I also brought lotion and then like a facial mist spray because like I said, I was trying to at least keep my skin hydrated. So I also would have brought eye drops. My eyes were really dry afterwards, so I wish I had brought eye drops. Yeah, so that's what I can think of initially, what I probably would have done differently. Otherwise, it all ended up being fine. So that's kind of what I have for the procedure. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me. Again, this is just based on my experience, and from a long hauler's point of view, I don't know how clear this was. I'm really praying I can cut it in a way where it seems clear. But if anything, I just kind of hope that this gives comfort to anybody else out there who's having to go in for a medical procedure or for a stent specifically. I will keep you guys posted on the actual stent procedure whenever that happens. My doctor said that he's kind of backlogged, so don't expect that video for a month or so. It just kind of depends on when he can get me in. So yeah, I think that kind of covers it. Again, not a medical professional. If you have any questions, I would definitely talk to your doctor, do some research on your own. If any of you out there have gone through a stent procedure and you have any tips from your experience, I would love to hear it. Yeah. So with that being said, I want to thank you again, as always, for sharing your time with me. And if you find yourself wanting to slow down, feel free to come on back and check out my vlog, and we will learn how to slow down together.